The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corporation.
Welcome to your Health and Wellness Hour, sponsored by Luminosity Wellness Center here in Las Vegas, coming to you from the studios of Worldwide Digital Broadcasting. Our goal is to incite and ignite all your senses and curiosities. So sit back, relax, open your mind and your heart, and enjoy the show.
Welcome. My name is Abra McGrath, and I'm taking over for Christine Essex for the Wellness Hour today. And today we have a special guest with us, Shaunda Peck. Say hello, Shaunda.
Hello, everybody.
Today we've been talking about just the holidays and how it's making us feel and what our plans are, and just talking about our journeys through and doing a little introspection and what it means for us coming to the end of the year and going and propelling us into the new year. We're really excited about some things to come, some brand new things at the Luminosity Wellness Center over here on Smoke Ranch Road in Tenaya Way. If you haven't joined us over here and seen our facility, there's lots of practitioners and amazing people doing wonderful things and bringing a lot of positivity to the area and just creating that great ripple.
I agree with that. I'm brand new to the whole luminosity experience, so I'm coming from the perspective of not having experienced it for a long time ago, but from just brand new. Actually, at Halloween time was one of my first visits here.
Oh, excellent. So can you tell us a little bit about what brought you to Luminosity?
Well, my journey is a long one, and it's a windy road, but I used to be a truck driver. And as a truck driver, I had a lot of time on my own to reflect and to learn things. And so long hours in the cab of driving truck, I had the option of listening to the radio, of doing, watching the sky,
the
or whatever,
stars,
the stars in the sky, or listening to books. And I chose to listen to books, and I chose to attend seminars, and I chose to learn things. And
personal growth
yes. Issues and self-development. I used to call myself a self-development holic. And a holic.
A little self-development junkie.
That's it. And some of the things that I learned had to do with natural ways of taking care of ourselves and healing our bodies and doing things. And as part of that, I studied a little bit about neuro-linguistic programming and NLP and had several seminar experiences with that. And I learned about the term that NLP puts together, and that is called the map is not the territory.
The map is not the territory. I love that.
Yeah, and it teaches us that our experience, the real experience, has very little to do with what we perceive it to be initially or what other people communicate to us, the perceptions of that. So,
because our own experience is our own experience.
Exactly. It's personalized. It's essential to us. It's authentic to us. So as we're going through our life, and I liken it unto reading a map on the road. If you look at a map, now GPS changes the way we look at maps, but back in the old days, 5 years ago, we used to read the actual atlas and the map. And in the atlas, the key is blue roads are big interstate highways. They're fast-paced, they move along rapidly, the traffic flows, there's a few exits that you can get off to take you to major cities, and there's rest areas along the way. Things can impede that progress, like traffic jams and accidents and bad weather and different things like that, but generally you move very fast on an interstate highway. So if you wanted to go somewhere very fast, go from point A to point B rapidly, you choose a blue road or an interstate highway. And in our lives, very often, we want to do exactly that with our learning, with our health, with our well-being, is fast track it.
Right.
Point A to point B.
Not paying attention to the actual process.
Exactly. When really our growth, our evolution comes through the processes. So going back to the map, the orange roads are smaller roads. They are usually 4-lane highways, so there's a little bit of speed involved, but you're going through towns, you're going through cities, you're going out on the country roads, past the farms,
Seeing
the
things you
fields,
haven't seen.
experiencing things that you may not have ever experienced. Because flying in an airplane, you're going to have a different perspective than you are out on the highway. On an orange road, you're going to see some country lanes, you're going to see some houses. One time I was on what would be referred to an orange road going through Kansas. A tornado had hit this town in Kansas within the last few months of the time that I was there. I'm driving down their main street, seeing the destruction of the tornado. All of the houses were
Demolished.
And only people
How
who've been in that,
gut-wrenching.
only people
Right.
who have been in that would understand that experience. But once you've seen it for yourself and
The
you've driven by
aftermath.
it, you can almost imagine
Feel it.
the devastation. People from the sky wouldn't know that. So my point is that the orange road on that map would not have told me that that day my heart would have been ripped wide open. I would have not known that by reading the map. But
Wow.
by going through the process of driving downtown and seeing that for myself, I understood it.
You literally had to walk through someone else's shoes by driving through that experience.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Exactly. So then we move on the map to the smaller roads, which are designated in the color black or gray. Black is a 2-lane road. Gray is like an animal trail to a truck.
Animal trail. You don't know what you're going to get.
You don't
Right.
know what you're
Oh,
going to
okay.
get. In Arkansas, there's a road.
There's a lot of gray trails. Is
There's
that
a
what you're
lot
saying?
of gray trails. In the middle of the night, I was traveling down this road. I was thinking that on the map, it looked like it was a very straight forward road with just a little curve. Just a little curve. Now, a big truck and trailer does not turn the same way as a car does, but this little curve, I thought, it's okay. It's okay.
all right.
2 a.m., I get to where I'm driving. There's a mountain on this side of me, and there's a mountain straight ahead of me, and it looks like the road ends right there. What it does is it curves so sharply that I had to back up in order to move my truck around that corner without going into somebody's house that was on that corner.
Oh my gosh.
Okay? The map did not prepare me for that experience. Okay? So let's relate all that back to what we're doing here at Luminosity, and that is talking about people's personal health and wellness and taking personal responsibility for the path that they choose to travel. Okay? There's lots of options,
Absolutely.
right?
Lots of options.
Lots of options. When you find yourself in a state of beautiful wellness and health, nice attitude, good things happening in your life, or you find yourself into a state of not so healthy, not so beautiful, not so wonderful things happening in your life, there are choices and options available to you. And sometimes the first option is not the best.
Right.
However, you learn from experiencing that first option.
Excellent. Yes.
So I was just reading a book, Richard Branson, Sir Richard Branson. Many of you know him from the Virgin brand of companies. And in it, he talks about, I can't quote him direct, so please forgive me, Sir Richard. But he talks about a couple of experiences that he had in his life. One time when he was a very young man, he injured his knee very badly. And the first doctor that he went to said, we need to do radical surgery or you'll never walk again.
Oh,
and
my
even
goodness.
with the radical surgery, it will be a challenge. He said, I need a second opinion about this because I'm too young to not walk very well. So he went to a second doctor, and the second doctor said, you need surgery. And it's going to be a serious surgery. He went to a different doctor, and he actually had to go to a sports physician for a major team. The sports physician said, through a series of physical therapy movements, we could probably get your knee to where it is better.
And that's all he needed, huh?
And he said, at 60 years old, I'm skiing because I took not the first opinion, not the second opinion, but the third opinion. And you think about those experiences, and his wife has similar stories about some blood clots in her legs.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor said, well, you'll have to live your life on warfarin. The chances of the blood clot hitting your heart are pretty high, yada, 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 yada. They tried some other treatments, and they found that she can walk again and that she will be fine with her leg following a different regimen than the one that they first prescribed.
Going to find the way, finding the way.
Finding the one that fits you and what your goals are in life is what we're about here at Luminosity, right?
Absolutely.
So we have all these practitioners here that can offer you different pathways, different roads, different maps, and then the territory is yours to interpret and yours to work out for yourself by taking personal responsibility for the choices that you make and the actions that follow. You can be your own best help.
Empowering people to take their health back into their own hands.
Exactly.
And knowing that those options, those solutions are out there is such a remarkable feeling. And that support group and the tribe, this is what Luminosity is providing, absolutely, is that. And I know I say absolutely a lot, but that word just resonates with all these absolutes, that everything and nothing, is absolute in some regards. Everything is kind of temporary. But what if your illnesses or you being sick and tired is just temporary?
Exactly.
How exciting is that?
Exactly. So let's talk about sick and tired.
All right.
When I say consistently and constantly, I'm sick and tired, guess what I am?
Sick and tired.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
When I say I am fulfilled and loved,
Guess
what I
you
am?
are fulfilled and loved. And which one feels better?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So as we're going through our own wellness regime. Which is, how do we pronounce that? Regime?
Regimen.
Yes. When we're talking about our own health and wellness regimen, one of the things that we need to seriously consider is how do we talk to ourselves? What do we say when we're speaking to ourselves in our minds, in the mirror,
In public.
and on paper?
Absolutely.
If it's a pain in my neck, or if somebody's being a pain in my neck, or if my job is a pain in my neck, or a pain in my lower posterior, guess what you're going to have? You're going to have pains in those locations. So self-talk is the first place to start with your healing.
Have you ever done mirror work?
I experimented with it, actually.
Did you?
Yes, because I read or watched a YouTube video, and can I give credit to
Sure, yeah, please
Doreen
do.
Virtue and her friend? They actually did a YouTube video, and he teaches how to do mirror work. So just look
it's
it up.
self-talk, but with a mirror, so you have a nice visual focal point, and it's learning how to be considerate to yourself outside of yourself, because we happen so many times we're caught inside of our own head, and those voices take over, and you can talk yourself out of anything. Your mind can
And
talk
you can talk yourself into anything.
right?
That's the point. You can talk yourself into it too.
So bringing it to a physical platform where you may be just doing your makeup, doing your hair, shaving, whatever you're doing in that mirror, make sure you just spend a couple minutes giving yourself a pep talk.
And where do you start with that pep talk? You start with, I love you,
That's a good one.
preceded
good
by
one.
your name.
And you'll giggle and you'll feel all these awkward, weird things. And that's good. That's good. That
Yes.
means that you're growing, because that means you're getting yourself out of your
Comfort
fear zone. Your
and
fear zone. Right.
And speaking of that, isn't our fear and our comfort zone pretty much the same boundary line?
And it's pretty tiny. Look how big you're showing right there.
It's very, very
that's the size of
tiny.
your brain.
But the size of our universe is infinitesimal.
Right.
So when you look at the mirror, say, I love you. I care about you. I truly do want what's best for you in all areas of life. And you start by repeating that 3 times to yourself. In the morning when you're doing your makeup. In the afternoon when you're checking yourself to make sure that you're all prim and proper and beautiful and presentable. Because it starts on the inside. And then in the evening when you go to bed, repeat the same. And find out what works for you. What works for you? Do you have to start yourself?
Well,
Do so.
Here's another one. If you have a hard time starting with that one, even though that's a great one to start with, we could start with thank you.
There you go, gratitude.
Thank you is a big one, because then you're focusing on the positive instead of the negative, and you're seeing what you do have every morning instead of waking up and thinking what I don't have and what I need to attain. You're starting your cup half full. You're starting with what you do have, and what you're so grateful for is it changes worlds. You can write it down and you can do a little list in the morning, whatever works for you. But that self-talk in the mirror, like hearing it out loud, resonating with your own brain waves, your own sounds, is super important. Touching your heart, closing your eyes, whatever works for you. But standing in gratitude is a huge, huge help.
And when you're talking to yourself, sometimes finding the point of gratitude. Well, what can I be grateful to myself for? Start with something simple. Can you be grateful to yourself that you're smart enough to take a shower? Can you be grateful to yourself that you made yourself a great cup of your favorite beverage in the morning, whether that be tea or juice or coffee? Can you be grateful to yourself that you actually got to sleep last night and it was early enough that you got a good night's sleep? Sometimes you have to step up and be creative to start with.
Yeah, and pick the little things, because it is all these little things that help you chip away at the old programming to create that new programming. And it's all practice. It's like, riding a bike. I know that sounds so cliche, but everything is a practice. Everything is a practice. And people think things are hard when they just haven't done them before.
That's right.
And so these are real easy things to just start with. Thank you and I love you. I think those are 2 great ones to start with every
Remember
morning.
when you were a little kid? And as a little kid, before anybody in the world ever said, no, 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 when in your mind, everything
Was yes.
was yes. Yes. I want to try that. Jumping out of that window off the 2nd story, I'm going to fly down to the concrete. And you actually knew that it was possible. Think of that in the mirror. Yes, I can be thankful for something that I did for myself. Yes, I can actually find something about myself to love. Personally, I love my choice of eyeglass wear. I've had these same eyeglasses for, I don't know, 8 years. When it was time to change the lenses, they offered to put them right back into these same frames. I was so grateful because these are the best. Now people say, you can't be a truck driver because you look like a school teacher. I said, thank you. But the point is, I can love myself for my choice in eyeglasses.
Give yourself a compliment.
It seems silly, but that might be where you have to start.
Right. And I know that it was a little hard for me to start complimenting myself. So I started complimenting other people. Because we have a huge competition, in our, I don't know, society, culture, whatever you want to say. And so I found just finding little things, especially when I noticed someone was having a bad day and my positivity was actually irritating them. I don't know how that works. No, just kidding. But I would find something about that person that they could not reject and just compliment them. And I felt it to be like an awesome challenge for that day. I'm like, oh, I love her shoes. I know she's really irritated right now. Maybe not with me, or, maybe just her day's not going well for her or whatever. And I just noticed that starting to compliment other people in the line at the bank or in the, at the grocery store or something was super powerful.
It is powerful. It is powerful. When you start to talk to people and you're authentic with them and you can give them something that is truly from your heart to their heart, you have changed their world. Literally and figuratively, you've changed their world. So our challenge with the mirror work is for you to do that for yourself and to feel good enough about yourself to say, you know what? Let me see how authentic I can be with the person in the mirror.
And so we're going to take a little break here in a minute, and when we come back, we'll talk about how we can create our new year to be our most authentic, amazing new world and what that vision looks like.
Luminosity Wellness Center is a community of independent holistic practitioners specializing in stress relief, pain reduction, depression, anxiety, weight loss, smoking, relationship issues, trauma, fears, and phobias, as well as everyday life situations. If you are stuck, struggling, or unsatisfied, Luminosity Wellness Center provides answers, solutions, and guidance. Call 702-721-9355 or visit our website at luminicitywellnesscenter.com. We have a resource center for all your needs, books, CDs, crystals, and more. Inside the center, we have practitioner and event rooms for rent. Come by and check out the facilities at 2400 North Tenaya Way, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89128.
What if you could save animals and money just by shopping? At the Hearts Alive Village Pet Supply Store, you can. We carry food, treats, toys, leashes, litter, and more. Our prices can't be beat, and as a 501c3 animal rescue, there is no sales tax. Every purchase at Hearts Alive Village supports our life-saving programs and helps keep animals out of the shelters and in loving families where they belong. Located at 1750 South Rainbow Boulevard. For more information, visit havlv.com.
More pages, more words to my story, more grace, more meaning unfolding.
So we're back on the Wellness Hour. My name is Abra McGrath, and this is
Shaunda Peck.
And we're here talking about health and wellness and how to create a better new year and what we envision that being. My slogan lately is celebrating serendipity.
Wow.
And so I don't know if you've heard of the Course on Miracles.
Yes.
But they talk about noticing 21 miracles in your day. And I say just start with 2.
Sometimes it's start with 1, but 2 is a challenge. we're challenging ourselves and pushing our buttons, but sometimes 2 is enough to
Well,
start
just
with.
noticing serendipity, first of all. We were talking about talking to ourselves in the mirror and creating like a different vision, and maybe that would be a vision board or cutting things out of the magazine and placing it up in your mind's eye on the refrigerator, things that you are aspiring to and what gets you excited and wake up in the morning.
So creating your own map, to go back to the theme of the day, the map is not the territory. You create your own map and understand that the territory and the experience may evolve into something completely different.
That you had no idea was even there.
No, you had no clue about the possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
But if you will have a map and you will plan something, the serendipity and the miracles, if you will take care of themselves and give you something that was unimaginably beautiful and
It's
wonderful.
almost like an incentive program. Because once all the stuff gets laid out, all your map is designed, and then you realize maybe there's a river over here or this adventure over here. It starts getting super exciting, whether it's like a video game in some aspects or it's like a movie in another, where all these beautiful things start happening to you. Once you are available and open to those possibilities, being more positive, paying those compliments forward, and then when it starts coming back to you, you're like, wow, I don't have to do so much work. People don't realize how easy it is. The road less traveled is actually easier.
So one time, the week before Thanksgiving, I had a trip that took me across Canada.
Oh, beautiful.
I left the United States in New York, got on the Canadian road, had to make 4 deliveries up through Canada, ending in Edmonton, Alberta. I would never have known that I could see the Aurora Borealis.
Oh my goodness, that's on
from
my
where
list.
I was at.
Oh, so great.
And I would have not known that had I not taken a leap of faith, done exactly what you were talking about, found somebody in line, found something to compliment them about, and they said, "Oh, you're American." Yeah. We got into a conversation. I said I was headed this way, I was doing this thing, and he said, if you choose to travel at night, you could have this experience. So instead of traveling during the daytime,
right,
I opted to travel at night so that I could watch the skies
every
every night.
Gosh.
Those types of experiences come along when you're open
to just
making conversation.
Just a conversation. Just, I think it's when we stop making conversation, we get used to and practicing not making conversation.
Yes.
Right. And so these are the things that we're encouraging our listeners and viewers to do, is when you feel that urge, when you have that instinct, when you feel that little bit of intuition or that Jiminy Cricket in your head say, man, I want to say this to that woman right there, or, oh my gosh, just do it,
Keep it appropriate.
Right, make it positive, and, like the old adage is, right, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all.
But yes, when you get those twinges.
Yes.
We attended a seminar just a couple of weeks ago together.
We did.
In that seminar, one of the things that we learned was the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Absolutely, yes.
Concept.
We went to a networking convention here in Las Vegas, and 20,000 people are listening to this and feeling this, and that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 was amazing. I can't remember the woman who did that.
Okay. I'm going to do her an injustice because I don't remember her name either.
Oh, gosh, she was great.
However, she was fantastic because what she talked about was her life was well, literally
kind of
and
terrible.
figuratively going to hell in a handbasket.
Absolutely.
Her marriage was failing. Her, she was having a problem with her business, with her kids, with her household.
And she wanted to stay under the covers. I don't know if anybody feels that, especially today. We have a little rainy day where I want to run out in the rain. Many people don't. We want to stay under the covers. We don't want to face what's going on. And so when the world gets that heavy, what do?
So she said she learned from the space shuttle flight, the countdown. She went 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Out of bed. And she jumped right out of bed, and she says, I've been doing that ever since. So
because your brain will talk you out of it after 5 seconds. You get that little twinge inside of you, that instinct, that intuition, whatever it is, and you will talk yourself out of it.
So today is a perfect example of us working that out in our own minds today. We were having a conversation, and Abra said, well, I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to talk about today, but I'm going to spend an hour talking to these people. And I said, well, today I just wrote an article, and this was the subject of the article. And before I knew it, she said, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go.
And she said, yes. Yay.
And I said, okay. So then we evolved it and morphed it into the idea that we want to spend a few minutes talking to you guys about your holiday experience, your post-holiday experience, and maybe your plans, because the weather's not going to be good.
No.
Anywhere in the United States that you go, the weather's not going to be good. There's going to be a lot of stress because
people are in a hurry. Money's tight, whatever's going on.
FedEx trucks are being hijacked. The Christmas presents aren't going to be there.
Poor guys.
Santa Claus is going to have a challenge getting those presents back from the robbers. All that kind of stuff is going to be happening. So the next 3 or 4 days are going to be highly stressful. And then,
but we know this.
And Monday's going to happen afterwards.
There's no illusion of what's going on.
That's right.
Everyone gets it.
Everybody.
But the way that we respond to that is what we were really concerned about, is our ownership in how we can talk ourselves out of a situation or be just a little kinder when it comes to interacting with each other.
My Christmas holiday experience when I was young was fraught with challenging times, we'll just say. My sister and I, we share a lot of stories about what it was like in our household at Christmas time, and there aren't a lot of great stories. There's a lot of fun memories that we have of, my dad making our Christmas presents and doing a great job, and some of my best holidays are, I remember the refurbished bike that I got. He spent months downstairs in the basement refurbishing a bicycle so that I could have a bike for Christmas. Yet at the same time, there's a lot of holidays where there were arguments and fights and fusses, and
a lot of old messes to clean up, right?
There was a lot of stress about the money situations. Mm-hmm. So now as adults, young adults, we initially interpreted that to be holidays are no good, they're bad. Mm. And
so in there is that strange dichotomy going on where people either really love them or really can't stand them, right? So
exactly.
What are we going to do with that?
Exactly. What are we going to do with that? Well, what I chose to do was to mature into realizing that whether a holiday is spent with people or with myself, I was going to enjoy the company. And I think that that's a key.
Oh, I like that.
Enjoy the company.
Right. If something's feeling icky, then kind of flip it to something more positive, and that's where the serendipity comes in. If you do your 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and change it to something positive by maybe changing your atmosphere, why you're feeling icky, you'll be able to open your eyes and your heart to something more beautiful that's around the corner.
Exactly. So you're traveling down the road Everybody's crying because it's just not the right experience. You stop at a convenience store and there's somebody there who might need a little something that you have to offer, whether that's a compliment, $1, a little bit of gasoline, or maybe a sandwich. And you choose in that moment in time to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 here. That will change your Christmas. It will change your perception of the holiday, and it will change your perception of the trip. And guess what? It will change their life. $1 sometimes can change somebody's life. So let's bring that back to you personally. When you go through the holiday, you make it through this weekend. What are you going to do come Monday? The holiday's over. But you have a whole week before the new year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we want to focus on right now, right? Is talk about what you can do in the 5 days after Christmas.
Well, we're starting a practice, right? So we're just going to continue what we started. Paying attention, being present with our bodies, ourselves, starting there, starting the gratitude, flipping it. That's my other mantra lately, is I flip it. If something's not in its alignment, then I flip it. So we're going to continue a practice.
And be open to changes, open to options, okay?
Because that will create an experience, an unbelievably beautiful experience that you never knew was possible.
So what is a vision board? Do you have one now? Would you be interested in learning how to create one? And is it something that you have used in the past, have stopped doing, or have used in the past and thought, I need to continue this, yet I don't know how to go about it? Do you have a vision board?
I do, and I'm a big advocate on writing things down. I'm not super organized in my thought process when I do write things down, so I have many journals that have just random thoughts throughout them, but just taking a moment here and there and reflecting on those and going, oh yeah, I really wanted to do that, or oh yeah, that was a great idea, and oh, that would be a great project to formulate and make. Now that I've been living a lot more of my truths, it has brought me into this alignment where anything is possible, and everything I've ever wanted to do is happening, because I'm able to focus on each and every one, just here and there, just chip away at these little ideas and make them grow. And it's been a beautiful, beautiful thing. So not just a vision board sometimes, but your lists, your bucket lists. What about your bucket lists?
Exactly.
About when you were a kid and you were told to write down what you want, even just for Christmas. I think your Santa list is kind of like your bucket list.
I think so too. So what Abra is talking about, I would interpret to say she's finding her balance between her inspiration and her intellect. Most people understand that inspiration comes from your creative side of your brain, and your intellect comes from your dogmatic side of your brain. And many times they don't interconnect. So you have to work with one and then work with the other, and work with one and work with the other. So the idea of writing down ideas and concepts, or grabbing pictures of those ideas and concepts and putting them together
to help reinforce it.
To create a vision board.
Right.
So once you've created the vision board, it seems like an eclectic collection of thoughts and ideas. And somebody who was trying to intellectually put those together would think, how in the world do these interrelate? But as you process it, you think, okay, I'm going to take this little idea right here today, and I'm going to make a list starting at the back end of this and say, the end result is X. The idea and concept is A. What is B, C, D, E, F, G, and H? That's your intellect working on something that your instinct or your spirit came up with. So you're bringing what was spiritual and etheric into the world and making it concrete and realistic. And you just never know where those ideas are going to go until you create the vision. So the vision board becomes words and pictures, quotes, ideas, concepts that you bring into the world and into reality.
Right. And that reality just gets formed. You don't know how exactly it's going to form. And that's the most beautiful, amazing part of it, is it will appear.
You don't understand what the territory is going to be, but guess what? You have the map.
And you're going to experience it.
That's right.
And don't be so caught up on how or why even. A lot of times the why comes later. Like, I just was gifted a cruise recently. 2 weeks before the cruise, they said, we have an extra spot and it needs to be filled. Do you think you'd be available? I said, well, let me check my calendar. I moved some things around. I was gifted a trip to the Caribbean. Never been.
She won the lottery that day.
And I said yes. I was like, I'll figure it out. Figured it out. I go on this trip not knowing, I know 2 people in the group, and then I know 2 more people after one day, and then the rest of, and I just was open to the idea of doing something that I hadn't done before, and it was on my list. And I didn't know where it was going to come from, and they said, just enjoy, bring some spending money and just enjoy yourself. I'm like, I'll try to enjoy myself. I end up going to Haiti and Puerto Rico and St. Martin and St. Kitts and like Florida. We explored Florida a little bit, but I just was open to it. And while my group was going back to the ship while we were in Puerto Rico, I went around this little city in San Juan, and I was thinking, what would my dad do here? I'm here by myself, and I want to go adventure. What would my dad do? And I thought, bookstore. So I found a little bookstore in San Juan, and I'm inside there, and I'm talking to the bookstore owner, and he's remarkable. He just has this, like, his English is amazing and his Spanish is even more beautiful, and we're talking about how I could learn better Spanish, and so he gets me a book where it's half English on one side and half Spanish on the other, and it's telling the same story, so you can kind of read it at the same time. And then we're talking about the power of swimming in the ocean and salt water and just everything at that moment that I'm interested in. We end up having a conversation about. Another girl walks in. We end up all having a conversation. Come to find out, she's on the same ship as me.
So then you knew another person.
So then I knew someone else, and her name is Nydia, and my mom's name is Lydia, and I'm like, oh, and she speaks 5 languages, so she can help me with my Spanish, and we go on a photo shoot around San Juan. We go into an herb shop. I learn about herbs and teas, and we're talking, and I love churches, she loves doors, so we just become these adventure buddies. And her group, she came with a group of 20 people, and no one wanted to go adventure with her. I said, well, my group's 7. I'm the 7th one, and I need someone to adventure with. And she's like, well, let's do it. So every day we would wake up, and we were excited. We went on different adventures. Then we'd meet with our group that night for dinner, tell them all about our adventures.
And they were jealous.
They were.
And they were jealous.
The lady that brought me, Denise, she was so excited that I was just living life to the fullest, and I was getting such fulfillment out of this trip. And then Nydia and I would meet later, and her and I would go salsa dancing or do whatever, and just, it was so powerful that just randomly in the middle of the ocean, I run into a bird of a feather.
And so this is one of the things too, is that it was powerful, but it was personally empowering for you too.
Completely. For her and I, it was a reciprocity. She was like, this is the first day I'm not thinking about work. This is the first day where I could totally be myself. I said, and I just grabbed her and hugged her. I said, this is what it's all about.
Then there's the other aspect. You told me another story about your cruise, because they said bring some spending money, but your spending money wasn't always U.S. dollars, was it?
Oh no, no, I didn't have much for cash, being such short notice and all that. So I brought bracelets that I had blessed at the church down the street, because I don't know, instinctually I just felt like I needed to have something. I brought teas. Teas are one of the oldest currencies in the world. I brought teas. I brought oils. I have essential oils from doTERRA that friends had gifted me. And so I was like, well, what do I have? I brought jewelry. I brought purses. Like, I brought all these accessories that maybe I never had worn before, and maybe I could gift and pay forward. So I was thinking out of my box in my creative world of, well, what would be something valuable for somebody? Because a lot of times it's not money.
That's right. That's right. So the lesson is that she was open to the idea of meeting up with somebody that could teach her something, and that she could exchange her value with.
So yeah, barter and have some value system.
So not only were you open to bartering in knowledge and experience, but you were open to bartering in gifts and souvenirs, because I'm sure that you brought back
I did
items. Besides the experiences, I'm sure you brought back items that were way more valuable than the items that you traded.
Way more valuable. And what people were trading for cash, to get watches and fine jewelry and all this, nobody wanted those things. They wanted something personalized. I gave one of the bracelets that I had blessed from the Luminosity Boutique. Actually, I took it and blessed it in some holy water down at on Alta, and I ran into a French young man on the beach in St. Martin, and he had just got back from Thailand, and he told me a story about how his instincts just told him he needed to go to Thailand, and I'm wearing my bracelets, and I'm just talking to him about some things, and just in my mind's eye, I'm thinking, oh man, this would be so great. He said, I went to Thailand. I didn't know how I was going to find it, but I knew I needed to find somewhere to meditate. He ran into someone casually talking in the market, and they directed him to a motorbike that would take him up into the mountains. He took a 2-hour motorcycle ride up into the mountains, stopped where they told him to stop, ran into another gentleman that told him up on the mountainside right there is a monastery called Forest Monastery. And he just felt like he was divinely protected and guided. And he went up and meditated for 7 days, all free. He just needed to get there. And so after he said this story, I noticed he had some fresh tattoos on his neck. He had mantras. He had the Sanskrit freshly tattooed. And because we took interest in that and asked him what they were, he invited us into their restaurant where they were providing some amazing food, by the way. He was just so ecstatic that we were enthusiastic and excited about his journey, because that's how excited he was about being his story. So as we were eating there, I I ran up to him and I gave him one of my bracelets and I said, "Here, this is for following your instincts and just listening to your heart
And going to the mountain.
and going to the mountain." And he goes, "Thank you so much." He was so blown away. He said, "No one's ever given me anything on this beach the whole year I've been here besides money."
Okay. So the lesson
The lesson.
is, or the moral of the story is that not all exchanges are in currency. Some of them are in words, some are in gestures, some are in tokens from our heart. But all exchanges can change somebody's life.
Excellent. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you
For the
for
Wellness
having me.
Hour.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
This was so great.
Yep, you can come visit us at Luminosity Center, 2400 North Tenaya Way. That's the crossroads of Smoke Ranch and Tenaya Way in the North Valley here in Las Vegas. We have a beautiful boutique if you're doing some last-minute Christmas shopping and would like to stop by and get a little one-on-one with any of our practitioners. I'm featuring Janie Kent and Margarita Hunt. They specialize in Holy Fire, level 2 Reiki teachers here, and they're offering a special offer of $40 for 30 minutes. And you can reach them at 702-997-5784, and they do wonderful things.
It's an
here.
amazing experience to have the Reiki with these two ladies.
Absolutely, they're one of my favorites, two of my favorites.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We're going to sign off for today and hope to see you next week. And tune in to us at WWDBTV.com from the hours of 3 to 4 o'clock.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.